From the hallowed halls of Epic Financial Strategies down here in Red Bank, New Jersey, in the Epic Production Studios, we are Infinity X, giving a stage and microphone to human excellence in the never-ending pursuit of bringing value and looking to create infinite sales opportunities and infinite opportunities in general by having conversations with entrepreneurs, megapreneurs, and human excellence. And folks, tonight is absolutely no different. I am super excited to have Rich Sanvenero in the office, in the studio live with us tonight. Rich, how you doing, brother?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. Folks, again, replay, as always, on weareinfinityx.com. We are Infinity X YouTube, Spotify, and Apple iTunes. And for those of you who don't know Rich, buckle your seatbelts. Tonight, we're going to go deep into the law. Okay. So Rich is local to our firm here. He's in Red Bank, New Jersey. And the name of the law firm is?
Sanvenero and Cittadino.
Sanvenero and?
Cittadino.
And Cittadino. And so you can look them up with the website for it.
It's the sclawoffice.com.
So, folks, I always, and Rich, I always say that, to understand where you're going, you have to understand where you're from. So tell me where you're from. Where'd you grow up?
Sure. Grew up in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
Everybody heard of a small town. small town in Bensonhurst.
Yeah. You grew up in Bensonhurst?
Yeah.
Did you?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally different than what we see in Jersey. You actually have parking spaces out here. You have driveways.
Yeah, right.
Over there, you got to move your car every other day.
Oh, my God.
Grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Went to school over there a few years. Moved. Couldn't afford all the tolls to get to Jersey in one shot, so I stopped in Staten Island for a few years.
Okay.
And then made my way out to Jersey. I came out here for 8th grade. And I've been out here ever since.
Excellent. And where'd you go to high school?
I moved to Marlboro, New Jersey.
Okay.
I graduated Marlboro in 2006. Went to Brookdale for 2 years.
2006. God
Yeah.
bless.
Oh, yeah.
God bless. For all the success that you're having, you're such a young man. It's incredible.
I love to learn. I love to learn.
That's
and,
awesome.
I'm just hungry for more knowledge. That's what gets me going.
Yep.
So I did the community program. I always wanted to go to Rutgers. I always knew I wanted to be an attorney. So I knew, how do I do that? Let's keep college as low as possible. So I did the community through Brookdale for 2 years. And I ended up transferring to Rutgers campus for my junior and senior year, graduated, and then took a year off, studied for my LSAT, and then went to law school from there.
Incredible. Folks, if you have a question for Rich, please put it into the chat. We'll be made aware of that. We will answer the questions as they come through. Once again, we are InfinityX.com. We are InfinityX YouTube. And so, did you have entrepreneurial spirit growing up? Like, did you know that you wanted, so do you just wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm going to be a lawyer,
So if you ever met my family, they would tell you the story. This is the easiest story to start off with. I was in 6th grade, and I always loved to chew Wrigley's Winter Fresh gum. That was my favorite. If you needed gum, you'd always come
were the
and
guy
ask me.
for it, yeah.
You'd ask me. And if everybody remembers, there was 25 cents for a pack of 5 sticks in there. And I'd go to school every day, and by lunchtime, hey, Rich, can I get a piece of gum? Sure, no problem. I give out my gum, and I realized for lunch, I don't have any gum to chew. So who's the sucker? So I realized, okay, there's a need here. So there's a demand, there's a need. So I'd go to the bagel store every morning, and this is in Staten Island, and I'd go get a bagel, I'd go get whatever drink I'm drinking, and instead of buying 1 pack of gum,
you buy 2.
I'd buy 3 or 4, and I'd buy $1 worth. So
That's
so now, people, when they say, hey, Rich, you got a piece of gum? Sure, it's 25 cents a stick. If you want the pack, it's $1.
Come on, Lucy's a sticks of gum here. Oh my God.
So, and I did it all
That's
year.
fantastic.
So at the end of every week, I'd have, $30, $40 I'd get. And I realized, why am I spending money on the product? I'll tell my mother to go to Costco and get a bulk.
Look at this. Folks, you're studying marketing, distribution, right? Inventory management, right? This is incredible. By the way, he was like 7 when he was doing this. It's unbelievable.
Continue doing this. Now, I had a best friend, my best friend Mike, and we'd be on the bus together. We're in different classes all day. Yep. But I said, listen, there's a need, there's product. I'll supply you the product, and you keep 50%. So now we had 2 classes all day, and we're making $30, $40 a week. I mean, and when you're 12 years old, that's a lot of money, because now you can go to the movies. Yep. You could buy the popcorn you want to buy. You can go to Wendy's, whatever you want to do as a kid.
You're the guy that people want to be around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the start
of
seeing that there's always if there's a need, fill the need with the service. So I was filling that service by buying the gum and bringing it to school.
That's phenomenal. What a story. Now, did you continue that through high school? I mean, obviously the product probably escalated and, you know.
Right. So no, I stopped it after I stopped it after a little bit because people realize why pay, you know, a tremendous amount of markup on it when when you can just go outside and buy it yourself.
Oh my God.
But
That's
you know,
good.
when you're stuck and you have nowhere to go, that's what the supply and demand.
Athlete in high school or or worker?
In my mind, I was a great athlete.
Oh, of course, we all were, right?
Yeah.
No.
I should have been shortstop for the Yankees, but I did start playing golf a little bit in high school. I didn't try for the golf team. I wasn't ready for that at that point in life. I did play football in high school. As if anybody knows the area, Marlboro High School, we weren't tremendously great, but we did have
You had heart.
We went up 300% in wins because we had 0 wins the year before. And when I started playing, we had 3 wins.
So listen, that's maximum ROI right there, folks. You know, 300% increase in victory as a result of
exactly. But still, it never got better from there. So it was hard. But yeah, from there, I'm big into golf. I love golf. Baseball I like, and you know, obviously as we get older, my friends start falling off. They don't want to play baseball. They move into softball, and so I would play softball too.
Yep. And folks, this is something that it's just a sidebar note for all of you out there. If you play golf or if you don't play golf, I think that you'll be able to resonate with this. It is not common. In fact, it's a rarity that anybody who plays golf, and by the way, I'm talking PGA Tour professionals, I'm talking everybody, hits a hole-in-one. This man does not have one, but has 2 hole-in-ones on his belt. Talk to me about that, brother. 4 days ago, right? 4 days ago?
4 days ago, yes.
Tell me what happened.
One. I was very lucky. Like you said, most people that enjoy the game of golf, we go out there, and it doesn't matter if you're Tiger Woods or you're the newest person playing golf. It's possible for anybody to do, but it's such a hard achievement to accomplish.
Yep.
And you need a little bit of luck, and you need a little bit of skill too. Yeah. I was fortunate enough where both my hole-in-ones were hit with great golf shots, thank God. So that story, I don't have to say, oh, I hit it off a rock, hit the wall. Because that'd be very embarrassing.
Yeah,
that'd be very embarrassing now. But I got my.
That sounds more like me, by the way.
I got my 2 hole-in-ones within the last 2 years. One 4 days ago and one a year ago, and 2 different courses on 2 different par 3. So it was nice to see that feat. First one I did was at Colts Neck Golf Club on hole number 7. If anybody's played there or knows it, it's a shorter par 3. I think it was 104 yards that day.
Pitch wedge.
It was. I actually used a sand wedge that day.
Oh my God, folks! So I'm a hack, right? I shoot 90 on my best day, and a sand wedge. I probably put 75 yards. He did 104 yards sand wedge on a par. I mean, okay.
I had a good shot.
Yep.
I remember the way it was is the pin is sitting in on the bowl part of the screen. So when I say the bowl part, it's not completely flat. There's ridges and there's hills. So I dumped the ball on a good golf shot behind the pin, and it starts spinning back. So now I'm walking to the cart saying, all right, probably a good shot.
Oh, so you didn't even know?
No. So my friend goes, wait, the ball's still moving. I said, what do you mean it's still moving? So I'm looking, we're watching it, It's coming. And it was like a delayed reaction. Like it was about 5 seconds of watching this ball, which should have, I thought.
And you're in awe, right? I mean, your heart has to be just
It didn't fall
out.
in the hole yet. So it's like, watch it. So I'm trying to focus and say, what are you looking at? So now we finally see it, and it disappears. And now that it hits you, it feels like you're having the heart attack, but you're euphoric because you don't know what to do. Like you scream, you jump.
What did you do?
So thank God I was playing with 2 other people. So now that we know that it's a real story.
Legit, right? Yeah. There's verification out there. Right.
So jump up and down, you get so happy. But now what the hard part is, your next tee shot. So you go to your next hole and you better not mess up that next shot because you can't follow a hole-in-one with
snubbing
duff.
Right?
So I put the ball in the fairway.
Right,
Maybe the next one might have been a duff, but it was good. I was like, as long as I got off the tee, I was good.
Yep.
The other one that happened the other day, I was at Battleground Country Club.
Now, was this an outing or what was this?
So the one at Colts Neck was just a regular round.
Okay.
The one at Battleground, it was a member guest. Okay. I was invited by my friend Richie Lemuro to play in it. So we went last Thursday. And we're on, I think it's hole 14 there at Battleground. Okay. And it's a par 3. It was playing at 135. Little wind in our face that day. So I was in between clubs. People are like, please, I could barely hit a shot that way. So I don't want to be pompous, but I was in between clubs, so I
Be pompous, okay? 2 hole-in-ones. You have your new nickname is going to be pompous from now on, right?
So I grabbed my pitching wedge.
Yep.
And I just gave them this because we were talking, and Richie and his brother that I was playing with, they're good golfers, but we were talking about being in between clubs and how to hit that shot. So what happens is we're saying, it's not worth going to your backswing and then slowing it down because you're going to mess up your shot.
Yep.
Most people do that.
Yep.
They'll say if this is my 100-yard club and I have to go 80 yards, then I only have to go 80% of the speed down, or I'll go up 100% and I'll stop my hands. That's a no-no.
Yeah,
because that will cause you to hosel, spray it, right? Yeah. Or dribble it. So I was saying that. I said, listen, you have to go back your 80% way. So if it's 100%, if it's 100 yards for 100%, go to 80% and swing through. So I said, I'm in between clubs too. And I said, this club I should hit 140, 145. So I did the same thing. I went 80% or 90% and hit the shot. Now I'm watching.
Flush.
And I said, wow. I'm looking, I'm like, this shot's really good.
Right.
I'm looking, I said, I'm going to be next to the pin.
What I would do.
Watching, it drops in, and now it's rolling. Now, I don't play there enough to realize that this green is completely flat when you get up there. So I'm thinking there's some kind of ridge or a hill. So I hit the shot, and I see it bounce, and it drops in. But this time I didn't have that heart attack or euphoric moment because I didn't think it really went in.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be that simple that I just saw that happen that way. So we're looking, like, let's drive up there.
Yeah.
And once we got close there, it had to be, the pin is right in the middle, and there had to be at least 10 or 15 yards around the pin of just green. So I knew that shot did not go past that cup.
And folks, hold on a second, because the evidence is I have Danny. I don't know if you can get a close up on that right there, but I got the evidence right there. That is my man collecting his hole-in-one 4 days ago. Unbelievable.
Right next to that one is probably the one from.
By the way, who's Moose?
That's Richie Lemure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
That's his nickname.
Yep.
So I can't speak to that. We got to have him
No,
on here one day.
that's on a different episode.
I think
folks.
that came from a frat house nickname.
Oh,
I don't know.
my God.
I don't know the background to that. He'll speak to that.
Okay.
He's a great guy. But that was my my 2 stories for my hole-in-one. Thank God, like I said, none of them were dribbled shots. None of them were hit off a curb or something. So they were legitimate shots.
Folks, we are Infinity X. Replay at weareinfinityx.com. Pursuit of human excellence. We're joined by Rich Sanvenero, co-founder?
Yes, yes.
Of Sanvenero and Cittadino. Right here in Red Bank, New Jersey. And, listen, we're talking about golf. Entrepreneurs out there, there's massive relevance to what we're talking about. And the next question that I have for Rich, and we're going to dive deep into it here in a couple of moments. But, Rich, have you invested in your golf game?
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit.
Multiple ways. So, obviously, the generic answer everybody's thinking about is, what clubs do you own and buy and money you put into it? But it's not. It's more than that. It's more into the atmosphere of where you play, the people you play around, and the people that you just surround yourself with.
Yep.
And a great answer that I have here is, I'll speak about what equipment I play with in a second, but more or less, I get a lot of my business from playing golf when I'm on there, because people take interest in you when you're playing 4 hours. They want to know a little bit about where you come from. You have family in the area. Where do you live? What do you do for work? And once I say what I do for work, the next question is, do you do this? Do you do that?
Sure.
And I've gotten a lot of business from there. I've been able to pass business to people that I've met because, listen, you get to learn somebody for 4 hours. You fall in love with them, and you know what? And sometimes they become your best friends. It's
so interesting also that you shared about equipment, right? So, our business is comprehensive total financial planning, right? Epic Financial Strategies. We're a one-stop shop financial wellness center, right? Insurance, planning, assets, all of that. And, a lot of times when I'm meeting clients for the first time, I'm talking to them about what's their strategy for retirement distributions, right? Because, and I liken it to climbing Mount Everest, right? There's 2 sets to the journey of climbing Mount Everest. There's the climb up the mountain, but what's the point of climbing a mountain, right? To get back down safely. And to get back down safely, you need different sets of equipment. But the bottom line is, if you're going to climb Mount Everest, you could go out and you could buy all of the equipment that expert climbers use, but if you don't have their skill set, then all of that equipment is completely useless. You need to use their skill sets in order to be able to get down. That's why 85% of people die on Mount Everest on the way down. And most people don't know that, but that's true. They spend all their energy getting up to the top, and when they get to the top, coming back down, they still got to go 29,000 feet down, right? So do you invest in coaching for yourself, either in golf and or business?
Yes, I'm not perfect, and I know that. And the only way to get there is you have to be humble and realize that if you want to get better, you have to be better, and realize that there's somebody out there that can always assist and better your game, your life,
Yep.
your career, whatever it may be.
Yep.
I would fall into that 85%, by the way.
Yeah, so would I.
I probably would just be, I'd say, listen,
Retirement distribution, I'm going to be fine. But
I'd
climb the
probably
mountain, I don't know.
it's probably faster for me to roll down the hill than it would be to try to, and I've never skied or snowboarded, but I'm sure that would be a lot of fun.
It is.
If possible.
Yep.
But so in terms of equipment, I couldn't agree more. You have the right tools around you. You still need to have the right skills. Just because you buy the best golf club or the best driver doesn't mean you're going to hit the ball the furthest. You have to have the skill. You got to have the want and desire to achieve that status or that next level.
And so, folks, we are Infinity X. Replay, we are infinityx.com. We are Infinity X YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. And again, if you have a question for Rich, by all means, please put it into the chat. But we're going to focus and move over into what you're currently up to right now, right? So you get the idea. When did you? Well, actually, let me go back. When was it clear cut for you that you wanted to pursue law?
Probably I had to be young, 5, 6, 7 years old. And people say, how do you even know what a lawyer is? Or I didn't want to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a judge. I used to love the show.
I was about to say, it wasn't because you needed one, right?
No. I used to love the show, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, yeah.
So who doesn't, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil. So
absolutely.
I was like, I love the law. That would be fun to be a judge. He's so respected, and it looks like a fun job. But as you grow up and start learning, I'm like, I always chose that path. I always loved history, and that was my major in college, was history and criminology. I love all the world wars. I love learning, like I was saying before.
It's so interesting too.
So our Constitution, I find so interesting, and as boring as some people probably don't know what it is. But we have, this Bill of Rights, definitely should read and understand. And I take interest, and I love our Constitution.
It's constantly being updated, right?
And that's what's great about it, because current events can change the law. There could be new policies that are passed by the legislatures that people don't realize impact everybody's life in some way, shape, or manner. And then obviously we have checks and balances. Our whole government's checks and balances: the executive branch, the legislative branch, the Supreme Court. So it's never ending, and it's always an evolving document or a book as well as law. So from there, in school, I always took interest in the law. So I went from AP government and politics in high school to college doing law classes, and I knew fastest thing was for me to get out of college to get into law school. That's always what I wanted to do, because that's where I saw my career going. When I was younger, I always wanted to be a Supreme Court justice. I said, all right, well, how many people get an opportunity there? So it's probably not going to be there for me in life, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So then I went to law school. I ended up going to Barry University in School of Law in Orlando, Florida. A funny story with that is we get the acceptance letter, super excited, because my parents are divorced. So I was living up here with my mother, and my father and most of that side of the family is in Florida. Okay. So I would see them regularly, but and when I can, every few months. But now I'm like, all right, I can go to law school that's relatively in the proximity of where everybody lives, so I could spend some time.
Spend time down there, yeah,
right?
Sure,
which is what I did. So,
thinking
that I was going to Miami though. So if anybody knows Barry University, their main campus is in Miami Gardens. So I get the letter. I'm super excited. I said,
boy.
This is awesome.
Okay.
Going to be in Miami, be on the beach. Who's going to be better than me right now?
Oh my!
Week before we're supposed to report, we get an email saying, "Please report to the satellite campus in Orlando, Florida." Orlando, Florida. That's different. Like, we got to stop for a 2-hour drive and then finish up. So we realized, wait, it's actually in Orlando. Where's the fine print? Not that. So you kind of, so you kind of get a little taken back. You're like, oh, I just went from the beach and partying in Miami
to Disney World.
To now I'm hanging out with the mouse. Now I'm hanging out with the mouse. So we show up, and I come to realize I'm not the only one that it happened to. Everybody else thought it was Miami too. Right. So it was not everybody, but most of the people. Yeah.
Brilliant marketing, by the way, on behalf of that college. If you want to get people to go, just tell them it's in Miami and then have it be in Kissimmee, right? You know, that's incredible.
So my law partner, Joshua Cittadino, him and I went to law school together. We started in the same class, and that's how we met.
Yep.
But he's from Long Island originally.
Okay.
And he had the same thing. He thought he was going to Miami because come to find out, we all got duped. We're in Orlando. So we ended up going 3 years there. But during law school, which was awesome, and I love sharing this story, I wish I knew this in college. Like, I should have studied abroad in college because you get to see the world. And you get to see the world, the history, different countries, different laws, right? It's not everybody follows the American way. Everybody has their own system.
Isn't that incredible? Well, I feel like myself included, I feel like Americans just forget that when you go to a foreign country, it's not the American way, it's their way.
Right.
You know?
Right. And sometimes we're just stubborn. We say, no, it's this way.
Right.
No.
Right. No, actually, it's not, you know?
So so I never did it in college, but I would love to have traveled to various different countries and just learn about, their history. Yep. But so in law school, I get to finish my first 1L year, they call it. So law school's 3 years, 1L, 2L, and 3L, and then you take your bar. So after my 1L year, I do my law school's summer abroad program, which was we were outside of Madrid in El Escorial in Spain. Okay. So it was cool. So I got to travel, see Spain. I saw Barcelona, Ibiza. Or Ibiza.
Yeah, Ibiza.
I say it right because I know there'll be a lot of comments on there at some point. Madrid. I went to Rome in Italy. Went to Paris.
Oh, incredible!
And then
what an experience!
It was a great experience, but it gets even better. So now go to law school in second year. So I finished my 2L year. So now Josh and he goes, you had so much fun last year. I want to come this year. I said, sure, let's go. Mm-hmm. So we're going to study now with Penn State's law program because you can choose any other law school to study with.
Okay, yeah. Penn State has a good law school.
Great law school,
too, right?
They had a great program.
Yep.
And part of the reason we like them is one, they're a great law school, great program, and that they're going to be in Italy. So,
perfect.
So last year was Spain. Now we'll go to Italy. So the main hub that we're going to be was going to be in Florence, in Italy. So it starts off with Josh goes, I'm going to go see he's going to meet some of his friends in Europe, and he goes, meet me in Amsterdam. I said, okay. So,
oh boy.
So I met him in Amsterdam, and I'll save those stories.
For
another
this is a
podcast.
PG. Yeah, right. This is a PG podcast.
We had a great time.
Yeah, sure.
So I did it as like a layover. So we had a layover.
Is that where cannabis law came into play? By the way,
we'll go down that. It may have influenced it. So I meet him in Amsterdam, and then we go from there. We're going to travel to Milan because then Milan we got to take the train to Florence. So we got to see a lot of Italy, and that trip specifically, we went all over the place. We went to Berlin, which was an awesome time. We went to all up and down Italy. So we were at Positano, Sorrento, Siena, Rome.
That's
again.
Incredible.
It was absolutely amazing. But the reason why I went down to where we traveled and why the 2L year was really exciting is one part of our trip, we had to go to Rome for the week to learn.
Okay.
And it was taught by Justice Antonin Scalia. If everybody remembers, Justice Scalia made the headline news in 2016. He passed away.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. I was putting two and two together.
And you had everybody fighting over who was going to be the next Supreme Court justice picked in his place.
Wow.
So we were fortunate enough in 2012 to learn from him. And we had, 40 or 50 people in this whole program. And
oh my God, it was an intimate setting.
It was very intimate, and I was one of two people raising my hand. So anybody that knows that ever taught me is I like to speak, I like to learn. Whether you think my question relates to the matter or not,
I can't imagine why you're a lawyer, right?
It depends on who you talk to.
In the courtroom,
But it was awesome just to learn from him. Whether you agree with his ideology or not.
Yep.
It's that type of mind to teach you is just fantastic.
What was your, folks, we are InfinityX.com. We are InfinityX YouTube for the replay. We're joined by Rich Sanvenero. And Rich, what was your first offer once you passed the bar?
So I passed my New Jersey and New York bar. I ended up working as a law clerk for Judge Rufano, Christopher Rufano in Middlesex.
Okay.
It was awesome clerkship. You learn a lot.
Yep.
And the best part about a clerkship is you get to see the ins and outs of the court, how it works, how it operates, the motion practice. There's some fantastic attorneys in New Jersey that filed some great motions that we were able to, I was able to review on my desk with the judge and talk about and just learn, and shape my mind as to how do I, as an attorney, advocate for that client, because when you're a law clerk, you're neutral. You're not advocating or writing the order up a certain way. You're writing it based on the law or based on the judge's discretion. So it was great learning from there. And then from there, I had an offer to become an associate attorney in the area, and I took that, and then started my legal career.
Got it. And now, unlike financial planning, right, or our company, I think sometimes it can be a little bit suspect when a law firm positions themselves almost like a one-stop shop. But you are literally you're a mutual fund of the law. I mean, you literally are like a one-stop shop. And as I go through, and by the way, folks, the website is www.thesclawoffice.com. That's where you can find Rich and his partner. What were you passionate about as you were going? Did you have an idea of what areas of the law that you wanted to focus upon? And then part B to that is, did you know that you were ultimately going to need a partner?
Sure, absolutely. So like I was saying before, I come from a divorced family. So I was I was 2 years old going to dad's house every other weekend. I didn't know what a family unit was. And obviously that was a big impact on my life. So I knew helping others, or if I can help a family or children or whatever it may be, navigate anybody with their problems, help them find that resolution, then I'm doing well for what I want to do. And it's not about the compensation of the job. That's not why I'm in it, because I'm a big believer as to you have to be passionate about what you're doing for work, because you're never going to work a day in your life. And I don't feel that I work a day in my life that way. Because I can make such an impact. So
very well said.
I started off I had a family clerkship, and then I was hired to do family law. But when I took the job, the firm asked me, they said, listen, are you open to doing other areas of law? I said, sure, because again, I'm a newer attorney at that point. I don't know all the areas of law, because in law school, the problem with law school, in my opinion, is that you learn all the areas learn all these different areas of law.
But they don't dive deep?
But they don't teach you realistic procedure and what you need in life. You can't just go to court, because you don't know what you're doing at that point.
Listen to this, folks, by the way.
We can tell you all about the constitutional law and contract law, but what good are you if you have no practical experience? So I think that's what law schools need to change, is add some kind of practical component to the education. So anyway, I get hired by this firm. They say, we want you primarily to do any family work that we get, but we also do more than just that. And I said, okay, what else do you do? A lot of stuff that's on my website is what we did. A lot of civil litigation, which I end up liking, because if anybody has experience in the family part, you know that it's very emotionally driven. And the civil part I like is because people can make sound business decisions that make sense, and it's not about winning. Like in the family part, people try to just win or beat up that, not physically.
Yeah, but they're going after what they're going after. There's spite.
There's a lot of spite.
A lot,
right? And that's what drives a lot of people say, oh, my divorce cost me X dollars, or this, I'm in a 5-year litigation for this. Custody battle. Because it's not about what's in the best interest of that child. It's not about what's in the best interest for you or your soon-to-be ex-spouse and moving forward. They're about to torch and scorch the earth because they just want to make the other person either not happy or something. Right, exactly. And I think that's it's hard to change that mentality out there, because people say, I understand, I won't do that. But that's not what the results and what everybody sees, because otherwise there wouldn't be a lot of our family law attorneys in business.
So 2 things on family law. First is so what do you do if a new prospective client is referred to you, and Happens all the time. Unfortunately, the divorce rate in the U.S. is so much higher now than it's ever been, But and by the way, I totally agree with what you said about law school and higher education in general, right? But what do you do when, let's say from myself as an example, I'm referred to you and I'm meeting you for the first time, and I'm a ball of fire. I'm a ball of fire, and I'm angry, and I want to go after absolutely everything, and I want to go guns blazing. What's your approach in rapport build, number one, and then not necessarily talking me off the ledge, but shaping and framing what the outcome could look like?
Sure. So you have to. The first thing you do, especially in family, you got to manage the expectations. It's people come in my office all the time. They want the divorce over tomorrow. I would love for that to happen.
Not going to happen.
It's not going to happen realistically because there's so much that's involved. Unless you really are talking no assets, a very short, very, very short-term marriage, and probably no children, I don't see how that's possible to do it so short-term because you have to manage expectations. Here's what needs to be done first. The other thing is we need to make sure that your emotions are in check because I need to have you competent when we have a conversation, right?
Yep.
Can't have you all over the place because if you don't understand what I'm saying, what good am I to you as your attorney? So I would refer that person to see a divorce coach, or a therapist, as people may know them otherwise. And people should not take that to be offensive nowadays because you say to somebody, "Have you thought about speaking to a therapist?"
It's a privilege, it's like you
people
deserve
sometimes
that,
close up on you and say, "Well, I'm not crazy; they're the crazy one."
Right. Oh my gosh.
And it happens all the time. But
Yeah.
it's about the delivery is big too. You got to make sure how you deliver your message is the right way because again, you can get the same point across, and just comes out to how the delivery is. So that's big too. Is maybe have that person meet with the therapist, get their emotions in check, especially if they're coming to you to let's say it's a divorce, and they're coming to you to file for a divorce first. You have all the time in the world on your side,
right?
Because that other spouse either knows or doesn't know at that point, so you can get what you need to get together to prep for that divorce. But you also
before
have
you
time.
sign, right?
Right. They could still sign up with you. Doesn't mean you have to do any work on the file.
Okay.
I'm talking about you don't have to. They can retain you to give them advice and lead them along the way to get what they need necessary to get the process started. But you don't have to do that work with them right then and there. You can explain to them, listen, let's do this part first, and let's do that part second. And if you want to move forward right now, we can do that too. But here's the pros and cons of doing so, and it happens all the time. But then, obviously, every divorce case or every family case, I should say, because there are a lot of people that are not getting married today, more millennials, that they're choosing to live together. They still have children. So the divorce word's not the right word to use, but there's a lot of family conflicts that need to be resolved, and you need to do it delicately. You need to maybe make sure the children are taken care of, things like that. So there's a great process in family law that we're using called collaborative divorce.
Collaborative divorce.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, for anybody that doesn't know what collaborative divorce is, it's an alternate dispute resolution method than just going to litigate your case. Because you go to litigate, all you're doing is your attorneys are winning. You're going to pay your attorneys to fight over whatever it is, and you're going to ask somebody sitting in a black robe to make a decision. That they may not know your family as best as you. So if you're fighting over children and parenting time and all that stuff, the parents really are the best people to tell you what's best for little Johnny.
Sure.
Whether it's playing baseball or not playing baseball.
Yeah.
Instead of having the court say, all right, little Johnny can go to dad's on this day or mom's on that day. So the collaborative process is an open and honest, upfront look amongst the litigants they can use their attorneys, they can use financial professionals, they can use therapists, they can use anybody that may need to be necessary to be used in there. But the benefit of the collaborative divorce is that it keeps everybody open and honest. So if there's a problem or one spouse doesn't like what's happening, they can terminate the process at any point in time. And all those professionals that were in there now cannot represent that party or anybody else in further litigation. So the con to those parties doing that is that now they just wasted all that money. So it keeps them invested in with their time and money into the process.
Sure, of course.
If you choose not to do that, then there's mediation, which everybody I'm sure knows what a mediator is.
Anybody who's seen Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So a mediator would be a neutral third party that takes no position to either side, tries to help facilitate an agreement and try to get a resolution rather than, again, going the litigious route, going to court, having a trial and having a black robe call it. You go to mediator, and a lot of times they're also great options. But if the process breaks down, you can go to court and you can keep your professionals that you've hired or in your corner to still represent you. So mediation is very big and popular as well. And then there's obviously arbitration. And everybody's like, well, what's the difference between arbitration and mediation? I'm not sure if you know yourself.
I actually don't understand the difference between the two.
So a lot of people don't. So arbitration is pretty much having a trial, but with either a private attorney being the arbitrator or a retired judge typically. And that person is calling the case in a much faster process than you would be going to court, because anybody knows if you tried a family case, you're sitting at that courthouse the day of trial. Maybe you get a half hour in or an hour in of your case. Now your client paid you 8 hours to sit there, massive amount of hours to prep.
I can't even imagine how much money that is.
And it's like, you're not going to get back-to-back trial days. So now you're going to come back 3 weeks later, 3 months later. So who wants to do that, right?
No.
So people want to be divorced today, divorced now.
I know.
So they're willing sometimes to hire a professional to act as an arbitrator, and then the attorneys can, like myself, can represent that person, put on their case, and we can get an order and a decision that then we can go to the court and file.
Folks, we are Infinity X. This is Rich Sanvenero. Replay at weareinfinityx.com. We are Infinity X YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. And so, what are some things from a prep perspective that, for couples that are married currently? And I listen, by the way, folks, I'm not endorsing divorce here. Okay, that's not what I am doing. But you don't have to. The stats kind of speak for themselves. But in financial planning, Rich, a lot of times. We do things like beneficiary designation, right? We do that a lot. What are some, and we also see quite frequently when people, get divorced, right, that they forget to change beneficiary designations on things like life insurance, on things like 401ks or IRA accounts, and those supersede, right? Like last will and testaments and stuff like that.
I've never seen that happen in all my practice.
Isn't that yeah, right? So what's some advice that you could put out there to folks?
So what I like to do, especially if I have I can have both spouses earn, but if I have the spouse, let's say the spouse that's not working, or the spouse that doesn't really know
that's got to be a challenge. Domestic engineer is the hardest job in the world, but still,
So like if I have the spouse that knows that, listen, my husband or my wife takes care of all this. I don't really know what it is, but I think we have something. Immediately in my mind, the bell rings to refer this person to a financial professional that can help look and try to figure out what does post-marriage life look like, if possible, or help them prepare. I don't know if you guys do a case information statement. Do you know what those are?
Like a fact finder almost.
So like you'd set a budget for what the family needs, or like the budget what they do monthly.
Because
that's a great help for us family law attorneys out there. If we can have a financial professional that can help our clients set up a case information statement. That's tremendous, because now we know when we're going into court or we're going to argue this case that our client needs X dollars a month to survive. And we can now use that, because that's going to help us get our case moving or towards a resolution.
Well, what's so great about financial planning tools, folks, by the way, some of the things that we use is that it actually itemizes all of that for us. So, we can just run a report for you, and here you go.
And that's exactly what a case information statement is. An itemized lifestyle, a financial lifestyle for your marriage.
That's incredible.
So like your rent, your mortgage payment, your food you're buying, the gas, utilities, everything. And so you probably have familiarity with it. It's just maybe a document, but it's awesome for any financial professional to help any client that we have. And it really goes into even more so. You can have like the domestic violence world too. Like I'll handle that a lot. That's not a fun world to be in, but
I can't imagine that.
It's not only physical. People think domestic violence is physical.
Oh no.
No, it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
It could be mental. It could be various ways.
Especially if somebody's in a marital situation with somebody like a narcissist or something like that.
Doesn't only have to be a marriage situation either. It could be a romantic relationship gone bad, or people living in the same household together. It's sad because there's a lot of people that are within what they call the cycle of domestic violence that want to seek help, but they're scared to.
Ugh.
And it's either something that has to happen that's detrimental for them to seek that. But I think today there's a lot more awareness out there, and I hope that those people have that can speak up for themselves sooner or later.
Yeah, yeah. And so, folks, again, we are Infinity X. We are InfinityX.com. Replay it. We are InfinityX.com. There's a question that came into the chat. Parker, what do you got?
What was the process from transitioning from a lawyer for your firm to a business owner owning your own firm?
That is a phenomenal question, Parker. Thank you so much. So the question that just came into the chat, whoever put that in, shout out to you because that was a great question.
Yeah.
And this is entrepreneurship, right?
Sure.
What was the transition from you moving from the original firm, right, to founding, owning, and starting your own firm?
So as everybody can imagine, you have
Fear.
It's a big 4-letter word.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you don't know if that phone's gonna ring. You don't know if that email's gonna come in.
Oh my God.
It's tough, right?
Yeah,
It's scary,
yeah.
and it's the biggest 5-letter word. Is scary.
Yeah.
And then on top, I'm not just an attorney anymore, right? So now I have to be a business owner.
You have to be a business
I
owner.
have to make sure payroll's done. You got to make sure. I had to find a place for to put an office. So you had to sign a lease, and anybody signs a lease for any type of business, they want a personal guarantee too, right?
Yep.
And then you have to find employees and payroll and health insurance. So it never stops. So when I can be an attorney, I love doing what I do, and then I also have to do the back end stuff. But we have a great office staff, and that's why you said earlier in the day, how'd you know you need a partner? Nobody ever needs a partner, but I love that I have a partner because my partner is like my best friend.
That's incredible.
That's awesome. I know him for 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
I saved his life.
Who wrote the buy sell, him or you?
I did. I did, but he did too. It's great. And so I saved him in Italy. So he's going to say, I know right now he's probably saying, no, that's not true. He's probably watching this at home. And I'm going to tell it anyway because I have the mic and you don't.
Yes, right. Yes. Stage and microphone, right? You're one up right now. Yeah, that's right.
So we're in Florence, and Josh is out one night, and he's trying to get a taxi cab for friends to go back. And at the time, I think the iPhone 4 was out.
Oh, my God.
Because I think I had BlackBerry at the time, so I didn't have an iPhone at this point. And it's just 2012.
Yep.
So Josh's side of the story is that some 90-year-old man comes over by his pant leg and starts patting him around, and he thinks nothing of it. And guess what? There's no cell phone in his pocket when he goes to look. So now he's left in a foreign country for another 3 weeks.
I've heard that. Pickpockets are everywhere over there, right? Yeah, no. My in-laws were telling me when they were in Barcelona that they were getting followed by the pickpockets.
So shout out to his mother, Meryl. She's like my best friend, too, in this.
Right.
Don't worry, Richie, take care of my son over there. So I made sure his son came back to America safely. You're welcome, Josh.
You're welcome, Josh. Yeah.
So back to saying, so having a partner is awesome. And Josh couldn't ask for a better partner there.
Yeah.
We get
Now, where was Josh working, by the way, when you guys made the decision to launch the business?
So Josh was, like I said earlier, we went to law school together in Florida. Josh is a native Long Islander. He was working in the city for an in-house counsel job. He was looking to transition, do something different. Okay. And it came to figure out that, we had a lot of similar interests. So we said, let's do this together. I commend him all the time because I said if the roles were reversed, I wasn't moving to Jersey from Long Island taking a shot, and he did. Right. Him, his wife, and he has a beautiful baby son, Luca. And they did. And you know what? God bless them for that. Yeah. So it's been great because I know he has my back. I have his back. So back to running a firm. I know I have help if I, so Josh and I split the duties of what we're going to do in the firm. But I know if I want to go away somewhere, he has my back and vice versa. So it's nice to really have a partner there.
And Josh's disciplines are centered around, you'd mentioned to me before we got on air, like estate planning and,
So there's two Joshes.
Oh, okay.
So I said there's no other. You never meet two Joshes in a room. It's like doesn't happen. It's you'll meet Michaels, Johns, but
two Joshes. Right, two Joshes. Yeah, that is actually relatively rare.
So I say Josh squared. So Josh McGoughran is of counsel with us. He handles a lot of our estate and our estate side of the practice too. If anybody's interested in trusts and estate work, we handle that. Josh McGoughran is really knowledgeable in that area. Josh Cittadino, my partner, him and I, we will overlap with some things that we do, but Josh also takes on some babies of his own, and we're also in the cannabis field. If anybody's looked at our website.
Yep.
So Josh has been leading that charge. We'll also do a lot of our civil litigation, real estate, that will overlap with each other as well.
We are going to talk about that in a minute, but yeah.
Yep. And we'll also do some criminal defense, which more municipal court that we're getting.
Okay.
And we'll both handle those matters. So it's great. And Josh is also doing some family law as well.
So when when you're launching a business, right? And folks, again, we are infinityx.com, replay, we are infinityx YouTube. But when we're taking on new entrepreneurs, new aspiring business owners, right? Planning is so unbelievably critical in that space, right? Because you have to be liquid. You have to have leverage, right? You have to have access to liquidity because things go wrong, especially when you're first launching a business. You're not an owner, you're an owner-operator, right? And you're doing everything that you envision that you can outsource, but you just, right?
Exactly.
At that point, you don't necessarily have the capital.
And I want to, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, please.
I want to add one more thing. So we created a business plan, and we didn't know, we didn't know whether the business plan was realistic or not. But we said if we could stick to this business plan with this is what we expect our expenses to be. This is what we expect potentially a profit to be.
Did you have anybody audit the business plan?
No, it was just conversational between Josh and I, and I think we both agreed that it was it wasn't conservative. It was a very loose business plan, saying at a minimum, if we could hit this target, we'll be okay. And I think we'll surpass that if we just stick to our guns and keep going.
Okay.
Because I think as any business owner, regardless the law or not, you need to have a business plan in place because you need to know, all right, how do we. We get paid last. How do we pay? What expenses do we get paid first? How do we apportion it? So we had to do all that, and it's been very helpful to have some kind of plan in place.
That's incredible. And by the way, folks, I'm putting out there that if you're thinking about launching a business, number one, you want to get counsel, right? So you obviously want to get in touch with and have conversation with somebody like Rich, right? Or Rich himself. Please reach out to Rich. He's incredible.
And I don't want to throw another plug out there. We also represent businesses. We form businesses. We do operating agreements.
Okay, stop the presses. Hold on a second. Okay, so he does operating agreements, right? So folks, you need to get in touch with Rich around if you're thinking about launching a business, right? There are so many different avenues and things that you have to look at to successfully launch it. And by the way, you probably won't be profitable the first year. You probably will not be, right? Which is not always the worst thing in the world if you can control growth, but you have to be prepared. Again, liquidity-wise, you have to be prepared with leverage. You have to be prepared to be able to meet payroll. I have business owners that have had to borrow against their life insurance policies, cash value, in order to be able to meet payroll. That's real. Those things happen. And by the way, COVID, EIDL and all of those different things, access to capital is a huge, huge thing. But a business plan going into a business is absolutely of the utmost importance, folks, without a shadow of a doubt, because you have to forecast. It's an accountability measure, especially between partners, right? It's an accountability measure, but I would also recommend have a coach and or somebody operating as a business consultant, aka Rich, to audit that, to take a look at it, to give you some scale and some feasibility to whether or not they think that you'd be able to execute on the goals, and here's why. It's called a risk analysis. It's really easy to do, but nobody does it, and I don't understand why. So, Rich, when you launched, when the doors opened, who called?
I think my family would check in on me if I make sure I'm still alive. When you leave a firm, you give the client option to come with you or not. So a lot of my clients came to me. So that was ready. The phones were ringing from those clients. But then you're saying, all right, eventually those clients' cases are going to end or the real estates are going to close. What happens now? You have to find new clients, and you're a new business. You have a new footprint on the internet. You have a new footprint on social media. How do you build that? And that's what was really scary is how do I get people to know that this is my new location? How does Josh get people to know that he's now in New Jersey?
Yep.
And how do we grow this business? And what do we do? So I was able to reach out to a great friend, Parker Russo.
My goodness.
I don't know if you know who he
Shout out to the PJR agency. What's up there, Parker Russo?
So
That's my boy.
PJR agency did our website. So if you like the website, you like how it's clean, thanks to Parker.
Well, shout out to Parker as well. We are infinityx.com, powered by Parker Russo. Thank you.
It wasn't even
And Nikhil Bond.
right. It wasn't even an option. I knew that if I'm going to do a business, first phone call was to Parker, and I said whatever I need to get done. He said no problem. I got you.
Outstanding.
So it was awesome. So we got all that in place. So and then he helped us set up our social media accounts, and then we met. My firm, we'll manage our accounts right now, and that's been really helpful. A lot of people off social media will come to us and say, "Oh, I saw this post. I didn't realize you guys did this," and we're building our
And you
brand.
plugged this right when you launched.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Fantastic. Because so many people are so late to the game. They're like, oh, I got to update my website. I mean, like,
I'm a firm believer of, the more you can be in somebody's face, whether it's a billboard or something, they're gonna recall who you are. So I was talking to Josh today, and I said, yeah, because we have our water bottle now that says Sanvenero Cittadino on there. So I saw an empty one on his desk. I said, come on, can you leave those for our clients? He goes, no, it's the only one I took. I said, yeah, but that's one less that we have out there. And I said to him, do you ever see the movie Focus with Will Smith and Margot?
Sure.
Yeah. So if you ever seen that movie, Will Smith is like a con man, right? He does a whole con man and everything. So there's one scene there in New Orleans, and they're at Mardi Gras, and they're betting at the football game, and the guy is taking Will Smith's money, and he owes the guy $1 million, whatever the case may be. And so he tells the guy, pick any number of any player on that field, and if I'm right, then I'll get the money. If not, you'll get the money. And the guy picks the number that Will Smith guessed. You know why? Because he branded himself all day there in that specific scene. He had, I think his number was 55, and it was 55 everywhere, whether it was on somebody's lapel, it was in the chandelier. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to brand Sanvenero and Cittadino everywhere. We don't have billboards, but we have website presence, we have social media presence, we have just our persona presence out in the community. And I like to give back and everything, so I like to volunteer my time, and that helps too, because people remember that and they think about you.
Holy mackerel. Folks, we are Infinity. This is a rock star on my stage. We are infinityx.com. We are InfinityX YouTube for the replay. We have another question that came into the chat. Parker, what do you got, brother?
When building a team around you, what are some of the intangibles that you find are most valuable in a key employee? Phenomenal question. Shout out to good folks out there for continuing to ask really, really compelling questions. So the question that came in was, when you are looking at building out a team,
right,
what are some characteristics that you take a look at for a key employee?
So I like to we started the firm with 4 people, and I like to say we're family, right? I knew Josh, I knew our office manager, and I knew our paralegal. And the best part about that is the key part to building a team is you got to have trust, you got to have loyalty, and you have to have people that are open-minded to learning and changing, right? If you have somebody who's set in their ways, they may not mesh well if you need something done. And the hardest part that I have to be too is I have to be their boss, and I love them as people, right? And they're my good friends and all that stuff, but I have to also be their boss when we're at work. Yeah. But I can be their friend when we're not. So it's tough to take that hat off.
It's never
fun.
easy. Yeah.
But I never really had to take that hat off because I love who I work with, and I know that they're getting their job done, and if they're not getting their job done within the hours they need to do it, then they ask for help, and that's the best part about it. You can't be Superman or Superwoman by yourself. You need to have a team because you need to elevate others around you, and the other people that elevate you too. So that's how you get to the next level. You got to elevate a great team around you.
Incredible.
And that's what we do there. We look to have people that are personable, that we know that can fit in. Because the worst thing you want is to add a toxic person into a great environment, because then you're going to have one bad person who's going to make 5 bad people now.
And is that like a hire slow, fire fast type deal?
Yeah, eventually when we get to that point, we'll take our time and figure out who's the right fit for that need.
Yep,
So.
Absolutely. Folks, we are infinityx.com. We got the 5-minute warning right there. I love that. How has this been 55 minutes?
I was just about to say that. I don't know.
This is.
I could go on for hours and hours.
Seriously,
and hours.
Rich. Well, you know what? Guess what, folks? We're just going to have him come back on. And you're a partner, by the way. Shout out to Josh. But folks, we are infinityx.com replay.
And we are InfinityX YouTube. And we talked about, or you mentioned a couple of areas that you also do consulting on, and one of those is business consulting,
Yes.
right? Business consulting, and whether it's a startup business or a pre-existing business. So can you talk a little bit about?
Sure.
Give me two things actually, if you don't mind. Talk a little bit about what you do consulting businesses, and then if you could hit economic for a moment. What are challenges that businesses are facing right now that you're coming into?
Sure. A lot of challenges that businesses are facing are more of like their P&L. Like they don't know how to forecast their projections of how much money can we spend on whatever employees, payroll, labor, material for whatever job it is, because they don't know if contracts are going to get paid. So a lot of things that we'll do, a lot of services besides obviously the operating agreement and formation, is we have some clients, some really big clients that we act as out-of-house counsel. So their in-house counsel will reach out to us if there's a problem with a client of theirs or customer not paying, and we'll be able to assist that client in recovery of that money or service, whatever it may be. Yep. And vice versa. It doesn't only have to be business representation. If you're a customer of a business and you've been wronged some way, we can help that customer too, and that falls into like our civil litigation category. But with businesses, more or less, we can come in and I fix their contracts all the time. A lot of people don't realize that they're in the state of New Jersey specifically, there's the Consumer Fraud Act, and there's a lot of businesses that do not comply in their contracts right off the bat. And they'll come in, they'll consult with me as to why am I sitting here with this lawsuit? And I'll tell them right off the bat, you're an easy target for any attorney because you already have a per se violation by that contract that you gave that customer not conforming.
Oh my God.
And you find a lot of times, I don't want to nitpick as to our contractors out there, but I've been doing this for 70 years, 50 years, family business, 20 years.
Yes.
I'm a handshake deal
I'm a
type
handshake.
of guy.
That does not work. I'm sorry.
We're in 2022, folks.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way anymore. This is not the 80s, 90s, whenever that could take place, because there's too much litigation out there. You need to protect yourself, and I can do that. My firm can do that. We have done that. So I fix the contracts. That's a big issue. I tell them, let me see a contract. They have times I don't want to give my client a 3, 5, 7, 9-page contract. It's going to scare them. I want to give my client this 1-page back and forth. I said, you can't do that. Like, you're going to give that. You're not going to be able to recover your costs. So a big thing that people don't realize is in New Jersey, it's the American way. And what people mean, what is that? American way is you pay your own way. You pay your own attorney, unless there's either a statutory provision that allows you to recover, or you have a contractual term with that party. So unless there's really been like a violation of a Consumer Fraud Act, you're going to pay your own way for your own attorney, and they're going to pay their own way. And there's plenty of cases I've been a part of where it's tens of thousands of dollars later, and we're still not at trial. So that's a business expense you have to realize as a business owner you could be looking at. However, if I draft, or any attorney, or you just look at your contracts and you draft your contracts in a more sensible manner, you can put in there fee shifting. So you can have that person pay your attorney's fees, and you can collect on there, because as your meter runs, their meter runs too. And now they have to realize that they're going to pay potentially 2 attorney's fees at the end of a case that you can collect. Now, again, the biggest thing I was telling everybody, you can't get blood out of a stone. So
yeah,
if you have somebody that just has no means to pay, you got to make that business decision, whether it's worth going after them or not. But if you have somebody that can pay, and you have that provision on there, and you have the facts behind you and everything else, your attorney can probably lead you in the right direction as to what to do.
Talk about for a moment how many businesses that you run across that have inappropriate and or no buy-sell. Folks, a buy-sell,
99%.
yeah, can you go into what a buy-sell arrangement is for a moment? Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a business partner, you need to listen to this.
Right. You need to, a buy-sell agreement essentially would say, if, for instance, if Josh and I wanted to split up our price, I'm going to keep it easy for our viewers. If Josh and I wanted to separate, we have a buy-sell agreement in place. It means that our business is valued at X dollars, and we would have some kind of policy through a financial professional typically that would be able to come in and buy out that partner. Or, God forbid, Josh should pass or I should pass, then our estate can be bought out, because, again, you don't want to be partners with somebody that you're not agreeing to be partners with. It could be a spouse, it could be an estate. So the buy-sell agreements put a valuation on there and put some protection as to How do you get paid your interest out of the business at that point?
And you know what's incredible, folks, also, and we're going to kind of conclude on this because I know we're coming up at the top of the hour, but I see as a financial professional all the time, and as somebody who operates very heavily in the insurance space, right? I see all the time buy-sell arrangements that are funded by life insurance, right? I very, very rarely see buy-sell arrangements that have disability insurance.
Yes.
DI buy-sell is something that is incredibly relevant that nobody talks about. Do you write DI buy-sell as well?
I have DI buy-sell personally. And
Let's speak about that.
Yes. And absolutely. I think that's a great point because a lot of people don't realize they get turned off when they hear, disability insurance. Why am I going to pay somebody or pay into something for me to get hurt?
And it's never going to happen to me.
It's bad karma. I don't.
1 out of 3 payment, by the way.
That goes back to people with wills, right?
Yeah.
We'll do a lot of wills for people, but people don't. There's not a lot of people that have wills, and that's the other problem out there.
Right.
Oh, I didn't need to. I didn't plan my
bucket list.
Right. They didn't plan to pass away at 40. Things happen, right?
Yep.
And now what do? Now this person doesn't have a will, and it becomes a tremendous amount of burden on your family or your next of kin or whoever's left to hold in the bag to try to resolve the estate.
Yep. But the DI buy-sell, real quickly, why did you write in disability specifically? What would happen?
Because this way, you could take the payroll off. You can go into you don't have to burden your firm if somebody's unable. Like if I'm unable to practice. And now for a certain period of time, my DI policy would kick in, and Josh wouldn't have to worry about how are we going to find money to pay my salary too, which is a benefit there because it could keep the firm afloat or your business afloat.
Absolutely, but also the person that's disabled. Like, folks, think about this for a second. If you're operating a good business, it's growing, right? You talk about a business plan. Part of your business plan is forecasting growth. Well, if I got sick or if I got hurt and I'm Josh's partner, right? Well, Josh is going to continue to accelerate. Rich is going to continue to accelerate with his income level, but I'm sick or I'm injured. So what am I losing out on from a potential revenue perspective, right? So that can be written into a disability buy-sell as well. So final is where are you taking this firm? What's the scale? What's the vision?
Elon Musk said it best, to the moon.
Oh, I love that. You going to take a ride in his rocket ship?
That's it. No, I mean, listen, we hope to be a formidable force in the area. We hope to be, we want to be in business the rest of our lives, right? Whether it's in Red Bank or another area of New Jersey or another state, we are licensed to practice in New York, New Jersey, Florida, and District of Columbia. So we have other areas of law that we can practice any needs. So we have a lot of snowbirds that will assist. But yeah, I mean, we love what we're doing, and we'd love to. First, we got to make sure we grow this, and we're hoping that we're doing that each day by day. And we're humble to the experience. It's a very exciting experience the whole way.
Oh, Rich. Folks, this has been Rich Sanvenero. Rich, you are an absolute beast, my friend. I can't thank you enough, really.
Thank
Seriously.
you so much for having me.
It's been an absolute blast. Folks, we are Infinity X, bringing human excellence each and every single week. Replay at weareinfinityx.com. We are Infinity X YouTube, Spotify, Apple iTunes. This has been Rich Sanvenero. You can get him at the sclawfirm.com.
It's www, the word the letters SC, like Sanvenero Cittadino, lawoffice.com. Phone number also, if you don't know how to use a computer, 732-743-9665.
Folks, again, we continue to bring value each and every single week, or we seek to bring value, and I pray that you're finding that value. We are also continuing to build out our ecosystems with incredible people like Rich and his firm, and I see you in my future, brother. I think that there's a lot that we're going to be able to do together. And folks, again, thank you for spending some time. We continue to bring people each and every single week that we think are going to provide a powerful and timely message to you entrepreneurs, right? To you people that are looking to scale and to grow. Again, thank you for spending time with us tonight. Dave Harder, we are infinityx.com, saying have a great Tuesday.